Welcome to Stonefield Query's Knowledge Center, where we help you take the mystery out of reporting. In today's lesson, we're going to learn the basics of filtering. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to launch filter dialog boxes, know two types of filters, how to add filter conditions, how to connect conditions, and how to add an operator. Let's proceed to the Quick Reports wizard. In today's lesson, we're going to be using a report that I've previously created called Cleaning Up Old Contacts. I've already removed the filtering conditions to help aid in today's lesson. To give you a bit of a background, this report was created to help sales support workers review prospects that should be deleted from the system. In the development of this report, the following company policies were considered. All records must remain in the system for a minimum of 3 years before they can be deleted, and any record that has contacted the company in the last 2 years cannot be deleted. For the duration of this report, we are going to proceed directly to Step 3, Standard Filter Options. Filtering allows you to specify which records appear in the report. In today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to set up two types of filters. I'm going to show you how to set up filters for the data that you want to include in your report, and I'm going to show you how to set up filters for the data that you should exclude from your report. To launch the filter dialog box, simply select the filter button. As you can see, there are currently no filtering conditions set up in our report. If you would like to preview the number of records that match our present conditions, simply select the Count button. As you can see, there are currently 18,344 records that match the present conditions. Before we launch the filter condition dialog box by selecting the Add button, I'd like to return to the Knowledge Center to show you the types of information that we will be looking for. Before you begin setting up your filtering conditions, there's 4 important things that I'd like you to consider. First off, what is the purpose of the report that you're creating? This report was created to help sales support workers review prospects that should be deleted from the database. Secondly, what policies do you need to follow? For this company, it is company policy that all records must remain in the database for a minimum of 3 years before they can be deleted, and you cannot delete any record that has made contact with the company in the last 2 years. Thirdly, how is information stored? Prospects are stored in this database as P1, P2, P3, and P4. Contact activities are stored as email in or call in. Finally, where is data stored? We need to find the following tables and fields in order to be able to set up our filtering conditions. Prospects are found on the main table account type field. The creation date is found on the summary table creation field. Contact activities are found on the history table activity field, and the last contact date is found on the history table date field. Let's proceed to the filter condition dialog box. Stonefield Query's filter condition dialog box is very easy to use. The information that you need to create a new filtering condition is stored in easy-to-use drop-down menus. The first step to setting up a new filtering condition is to choose the table and fields in which your data is stored. We are going to build a condition that will source out the prospect types in this database. I already know that this information is stored in the main table in the account type field. The second step is to choose an operator. I'm going to use the expression is1of. This will allow me to enter multiple pieces of data. Prospects are stored as P1, P2, P3, and P4. From here, select OK to save this filtering condition. When we return to the filter dialog box, we see that we now have a filtering condition set up for our report. We are searching for all prospects in this database. If we want to preview the number of records that match our present conditions, simply select the Count button. There are currently 5,755 records that match our present conditions. If we want to add an additional condition, simply select the Add button to return to the filter condition dialog box. We've returned to the filter condition dialog box to add the second condition to our report. We're going to be building a condition that will source out all records that are older than 3 years old. When adding an additional condition, we must specify how the current condition is connected to the previous condition. In this case, we're going to use the expression AND. We then must choose the table and field in which our data is stored. I already know that the information that I'm looking for is found in the summary table in the creation field. We then must give Stonefield Query a value in which to compare the data to. As per this company's policy, all records must remain in the system for a minimum of 3 years before they can be deleted. Therefore, we're looking for May 22nd, 2005. Finally, we must tell Stonefield Query how to compare the data. If I were to run this condition as is, I would be searching for all records that were created on May 22nd, 2005. I want to use the expression is less than or equal. This will find all records that were created on or before May 22nd, 2005. Please select OK to save your condition and return to the filter dialog box. When we return to the filter dialog box, we can see that 2 conditions make up this filter. To preview the number of records that match our present conditions, select the Count button. Currently, there are 2,164 records that match our present conditions. Select OK to save this filter and return to the Reports wizard. When we return to the Reports wizard, we see that we have a filter with 2 conditions. We now need to set up our exclusion filters. We set up the conditions for our exclusion filters the same way we set up the conditions for our filter. I'm going to take the opportunity to do this, and I will show you the finished product. I have taken the opportunity to set up the exclusion filters. In joining the conditions, I needed to use both and or connections. In doing so, I needed to consider the following. Conditions connected with and are evaluated before conditions connected with or. Parentheses determine the order of evaluation, because conditions in parentheses are evaluated before anything else. How to connect conditions will be discussed in greater detail in future videos. Now, when we look at our filtering conditions, we are going to be searching for any prospect that was created on or before May 22nd, 2005. From this list, we are going to exclude any record that has called in or emailed in since May 22nd, 2006. To preview the completed report, please select the Preview button. Now, when we preview our completed report, we see that our sales support team has 1,742 records in which to review. Let's return to the Knowledge Center for a summary of today's lesson. In today's lesson, we learned how to launch the filter dialog boxes, 2 types of filters, how to select tables and fields, how to add conditions, how to connect conditions, and how to use operators. Thank you for watching today's presentation on the basics of filtering.